This is the Transition News on Atlantic Television Network. Analysts say citizens of Rivers State has the fundamental right of association and can belong to any party of their choice. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network's program, Atlantic Open Air, a political analyst, Chizi Nyomasila, said that the politicians as well as other well-meaning citizens are constitutionally entitled to a choice of association.
As an elected member, that there should be some or a provable faction that you can prove it before. And where can you prove it? Before a court of competent jurisdiction, that there was kind of issues in your today party before going to the other party. And now if you have to do this,
Masila also highlighted on issues of reoccurring political divergence in the state.
And yet, his camp worked for Atiku. Then he saw an FCT minister who came second in PDP, and his camp worked for. So it was a lot of contradictions.
A lot of probably Nigerians are getting wiser by the day that it's not about the party interest, but about the interest.
This is coming as Nyesom Wike, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, on Saturday led other delegates to participate in the Rivers State People's Democratic Party Congress, while Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odu, the members of the State Executive Council and the 23 local government caretaker committee members and other loyalists of the governor boycotted the exercise. Troops of the Nigerian Army have destroyed over 115 illegal refining sites, 66 wooden boats, and arrested 22 suspects in Bayelsa State. A statement on its social media platform, the Army said that it has also recovered 27 stolen pipes, 4 pumping machines, 5 illegal connections clamped, and over 170,000 stolen products confiscated, in addition to other ancillary items deactivated. The statement said in Bayelsa State, troops of the division conducted operations around the Swami Ibidi General Area, Tuon Brass, Ajib Terminal in Brass Local Government Area, and recovered 1 illegal refining site, 1 generator, 1 pumping machine, 1 reservoir, as well as 1 large wooden boat with stolen refined products, estimated to be over 90,000 liters, was intercepted, while in southern Ijaw local government area around Igbomoturu, 2 illegal refining sites, 1 wooden boat, as well as 2,000 products were confiscated. In the same local government area around Opotoma and Isinugbene, troops deactivated 2 illegal refining sites and confiscated over 2,500 liters of stolen crude. The statement also said that in southern Ijaw local government area, 4 illegal refining sites, 2 wooden boats, and pumping machines were recovered, in addition to over 2,500 liters of stolen crude confiscated, while in Okaki Forest, 1 illegal artisanal refinery was destroyed with over 5,000 stolen crude confiscated. About 70 environmental sanitation defaulters have been arrested and charged at the sanitation court in Umuahia in Abia State during the August edition of the monthly environmental exercise. The cleanup exercise, which recorded a high level of compliance in most parts of Abia State capital, also saw some residents violating extant environmental laws, leading to their arrest by task force teams, and the Abia State government has vowed to establish mobile sanitation courts in markets and other important areas in the state to enforce compliance with the sanitation exercise. Commissioner for Environment Philemon Ogbonna, who disclosed this during the environmental sanitation exercise, said that he was responding to the complaints by the Orie Oba market coordinator of the Abia State War Against Indiscipline, Okum Victor, said that the court, when established, would be charged with the prosecution of sanitation defaulters in various markets and other places in the state. He expressed dismay that some youths were still in Umuahia streets playing football during environmental protection hours and urged traders in the state to clean up their areas, adding that the August edition of the environmental sanitation exercise recorded some improvements when compared with the previous ones. Two children have been confirmed dead in a lone accident involving a Toyota Camry at the Kereitori on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Spokesperson for the Federal Road Safety Corps in Ogun State, Florence Okpe, who confirmed the incident in a statement in Abeokuta, said that the accident was caused by speeding and the car was overloaded with passengers. The FRSC spokesperson also said that the injured victims were taken to the General Hospital E4 while the corpses were deposited at the morgue, and advised motorists to always adhere to traffic rules and regulations. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has declared former beauty queen Oluwadamilola Aderinoye wanted. The agency accused the ex-beauty queen, who was the Miss Commonwealth Nigeria Culture in 2015-2016, of hiding after she was declared wanted 8 months ago. A statement on Sunday by the agency's spokesperson, Femi Babafemi, said Aderinoye was declared wanted after she escaped when operatives raided her apartment in Lekki on January the 24th, 2024, and found 606 grams of Canadian loud, a synthetic strain of cannabis, an electronic weighing scale, large quantities of drug packaging plastics, and her picture frame, amongst others, were recovered from her apartment. And moving on, Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has raised a 13-member negotiation committee preparatory to the commencement of payment of the new minimum wage in the state. The special advisor to the governor of media, Yinka Oyode, who disclosed this in a statement in Ado-Ekiti on Sunday, said that the first meeting of the committee is slated for Wednesday, September 4th, and recalled that President Bola Tinubu had in July signed the new minimum wage stipulated 70,000 naira monthly to law. Oyebode said that the negotiation committee would be chaired by the head of service, Dr. Folakemi Olomojobi, adding that members of the committee were drawn from government and organized labor in the state. He listed members from the government side as the Commissioner for Finance, Akintunde Oyebode, Special Advisor on Labor Matters, Kayode Fatomi Lui, and the Accountant General and Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Titilayo Olayinka, and others, while members from the organized labor are the Chairman, Joint Negotiation Committee, Joint Negotiation Council, where Olufemi Ajoloko, Chairman, Nigerian Labour Congress, and Olatunde Kolapo, Chairman, Trade Union Congress, as well as others. Ogun State Waste Management Authority has sealed 2 Chinese companies for operating in dirty environments with improper waste disposals. The companies are Yibao Industrial Limited, Bara Village along Shangam, Abeokuta Expressway, and Ronchang Industrial Park opposite Julius Berger Yard, Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Special Advisor and Managing Director Abayomi Hunye, who led the enforcement team, said that the action followed several warnings which were not heeded, adding that the 2 companies were also found guilty of engaging the services of unaccredited waste collectors to evacuate their waste in contravention of Section 17 of the Ogun State Waste Management Authority Law of 2020, as well as their continued prevention of the assigned waste collectors to evacuate their waste from their facilities since 2021. He said that their unaccredited waste collectors who operate at odd hours were also found guilty of dumping waste at the Shagamu in Abeokuta and Lagos-Ibadan expressways illegally, adding that the state government would not sit back and watch the firms damage the state by engaging in conduct that is not tolerable and tolerated in their home country. The Ogwama boss, however, warned other companies engaging in similar conduct to operate within the state's waste management laws or risk facing sanctions, and also called on the community development associations and other non-governmental organizations to complement the Ogwama's efforts by acting as whistleblowers so that more companies who are in the habit of improper waste management can be brought to justice to further enhance the quality of life of residents of the state. Over 10,000 persons have been displaced and farmlands along with other properties worth millions of naira have been destroyed by a flood after several weeks of intense rain in Gumi local government area of Zamfara state. The Emir of Gumi, Justice Hassan Lawal, who said this when Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal paid an on-the-spot assessment visit to the local government to assess the extent of the damage caused by the flood, said that 10,291 households were affected. Governor Lawal had pledged to address long-term flood management by constructing new drainage systems, as well as repairing existing dams and potentially building additional ones, while residents of Gumi expressed their gratitude to the governor for visiting them after having sent 3 different delegations earlier. Meanwhile, the state government has set up a committee led by elder statesman Salihu Gumi to oversee the distribution of these relief materials and ensure that all affected individuals receive the necessary assistance. Katsina State Governor Malam Diko Rada, through his pet project, Gwagware Foundation, has unveiled an educational support program targeting 1,500 out-of-school children across the state. He disclosed this during the unveiling of the headquarters in Katsina, stressing that his administration is dedicated to addressing educational challenges by supporting vulnerable members of society and emphasize the importance of philanthropy in societal development. On his part, the chairman of Gwagware Foundation, Yusuf Musawa, detailed the foundation's approach to humanitarian activities, adding that the foundation's efforts will go beyond education, which encompasses empowerment support for women and youths to establish various businesses. Also speaking, the state coordinator of the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment, Dr. Mustafa Shehu, discussed the program's performance, benefits and achievements after he donated 10,000 school bags containing uniforms, exercise books and abayas for girls. Earlier in his remarks, the executive chairman of the state's Basic Education Board, SUBEB, Dr. Kabiru Magaji, lauded the Gwagware Foundation for supporting 1,500 out-of-the-school children, adding that it would encourage and retain the children to pursue their education. Veterinary officials of the Adamawa state government have started mass vaccination of the cattle in several local government areas after a disease killed more than 1,000 cows in neighboring Taraba state. The mass vaccination in Adamawa state, which began at the weekend, targets local government areas sharing borderlines with Taraba state and Republic after the disease named hemorrhagic septicemia killed more than 1,000 cows in Taraba. The Adamawa State Commissioner in charge of livestock and aquaculture, Tijani Marksha, who led a delegation of ministry officials and veterinary doctors for flag-off of the vaccination exercise at Gongoshi in Mayo del Belwa local government area said that the dreaded cattle disease mostly affected cows in Sarduana local government area of Taraba State and further spread to some other local government areas in the state, which led to the cattle deaths. The director of the State Veterinary Services, Dr. Betilimos Nyalas, gave the names of the targeted local government areas for the first phase of the vaccination to include Numan, Demsa, La Morode, Tongu, Fofore, Maina, Maiha, Mubi North, and Mubi South, and Mayo Belwa, where the exercise has now started, and the 9 local governments to be reached were selected because of their proximity to both Taraba and the Cameroon Republic. People's Democratic Party in Bauchi State has elected new executive officers to oversee the party's affairs. The election held at the weekend and saw pharmacist Samaila Adamu Buruga emerge as chairman and Falalu Atta as the deputy chairman respectively. Chairman of the Electoral Committee, Ambassador Omar El Gash, who, while declaring the results, said that all candidates returned unopposed and therefore declared elected. In his remarks, Governor Bala Mohammed, who was represented by his deputy, Muhammad Awal Jatao, charged the newly elected officials to consolidate and build on the success story of their predecessors to ensure PDP maintain its positions as the ruling party in the state come 2027. In his acceptance speech, the newly elected chairman, Buruga, said that their emergence as PDP leaders was a victory for every party and every party member in the state and pledged to maintain an open door policy, adding that everyone willing to contribute positively to the party's progress in the state will be included and encouraged to participate. Over 4,167 houses and farmlands have been destroyed by floods in Gombe and Yobe states. The Gombe State Emergency Management Agency said that at least 2,517 houses and shops were destroyed by the flood, which ravaged 33 communities in the state, while the Executive Secretary of Yobe State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Muhammad Goje, said that 1,650 houses were destroyed in Jajere and Yunusari towns of the state. The Deputy Director, Relief and Rehabilitation of Gombe, Sema Ibrahim Nayada, said that the communities affected by the flood were in Duku, Funukaye, and Beliri local government areas of the state, and the areas were flooded due to heavy downpour that occurred between August the 12th and August the 22nd this year. Natado also said that the flooding and windstorm affected mostly houses and a few farmlands in the communities, and there was no loss of life, but 2 children were injured in Duka, including 7 animals that were washed away. Meanwhile, the Taraba state government has announced the establishment of flood control teams across the 168 wards of the state in a bid to tackle the effects of flood, as the Republic of Cameroon is set to release water from the Lagdo Dam. Operatives attached to the Plateau State Police Command have killed 1 suspected armed robber during a shootout with armed robbers in Bokos local government area of the state. The force public relations officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, who disclosed this in a statement posted on X.com on Sunday and signed by the Plateau State Police Command spokesperson Alfred Alabo, said that the patrol operatives were on their way to Boki's local government area when they ran into a roadblock and set up by suspected armed robbers. Adeshina also urged residents to remain vigilant and cooperate with law enforcement agencies as investigations are ongoing, with plans to arrest the suspects who escaped. The federal government has directed the Minister of State for Defense Bello Matawale and other military chiefs to move to Sokoto State to rid the northwest of the menace of banditry, kidnapping and terrorism. The Director of Information and Public Relations, Ministry of Defense, Henshaw Ogubike, who disclosed this in a statement, said that the directive is part of an intensified effort to rid the northwest of the menace of banditry, kidnapping and terrorism. This is coming after the federal government expressed sadness over the activities of terrorists and bandits in the state and its environment, stressing that a strategic move and its environs underscored the unwavering commitment of government to restoring peace and security in the region. According to the statement, while in the northwest, they would supervise operations and ensure that Bello Turji and his bandits gang were flushed away. The government said that there was urgent need to move against the terrorists to enable people to move freely, and also assured the people of Sokoto, Katsina, Zamfara and Kebbi states and the entire northwest region that the security forces will leave no stone unturned in flushing out the bandits. You are watching the transition on Atlantic Television Network. We'll return shortly after this break. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to Transition News on Atlantic Television Network right here in the city of Port Harcourt, and now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Beijing, China for official visit. He will also be attending the 9th Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit themed Joining Hands to Advance Modernization and Build High-Level China-Africa Community with Shared Future. Tinubu's special assistant on social media, Dada Olusegun, who disclosed this on his post on X.com on Sunday, said that President Tinubu will meet with President Xi Jinping and will hold meetings with Chinese business leaders on the sidelines of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. The president was received by Minister of Works David Umahi, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy Wale Edun, Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani, and Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, amongst other Nigerians and Chinese government officials. Tinubu's itinerary is said to include visits to prominent Chinese firms such as Huawei Technologies and the China Railway and Construction Corporation to accelerate the completion of the Ibadan-Abuja segment of the Lagos-Kano Rail project. Tinubu will also meet with CEOs of the 10 top Chinese corporations which manage over $3 trillion in assets across sectors such as ICT, oil and gas, aluminum production, seaport development, finance, and satellite technology. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a lawsuit against the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and the Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas over their failure to end the fixing the National Assembly's allowances, as well as the failure to account for the monthly running costs paid to members. In the suit at the Federal High Court, Abuja, Akpabio and others were sued separately and on behalf of all members of the National Association of the National Assembly. Serap said in the suit filed on behalf of its lawyers is seeking an order of mandamus to direct and compel Akpabio and Abbas to end the apparently unlawful practice of the National Assembly, fixing its remuneration and allowances termed as running costs, and called for the disclosure of the exact amount of the monthly running costs being paid to and received by the lawmakers and the spending details of any such running costs. Serap argued that the provisions of paragraph N, section 32D of the third section to the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, clearly make it unlawful for National Assembly to fix its salaries, allowances, and running costs, and argued that the alleged practice of paying running costs into the personal accounts of lawmakers is a fundamental breach of Rule 713 of the federal government's financial regulators. Serap also said that Section 15, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution requires public institutions to abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power while Section 16, subsection 2 of the Constitution further provides that the material resources of the nation are harnessed and distributed as best as possible to serve the common good, and no date has been fixed for the hearing of the suit. Arrested and detained End Bad Governance protesters have faulted the court's order that permitted their arrest and detention, stressing that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration had no right to arrest them. The protesters in a suit challenged the August 22, 2024 Federal High Court order issued by Justice Emeka Nwite that permitted the Inspector General of Police to remand them for 60 days pending the conclusion of investigation on their case. And in an affidavit disposed in by one Paul Ochayi, said that the protest is a right, and in fact President Tinubu had led protests in a spirit in the past without being harassed, detained, or remanded. They contended that by the actions of the security agencies, their rights to life, dignity of human person, health, and freedom of movement have been put under threat and being violated by the police without any justification. The applicants, Comrade Opalua Eliogjo, and 48 others in a motion on notice filed on August the 26th sued the Inspector General of Police as the sole respondent in the suit, thronged a consortium of lawyers led by human rights lawyer Femi Falana. This is coming after the Nigerian youths have taken to the streets in most parts of the nation between August the 1st to 10th to bemoan the electric hardships in the country. Department of State Services have arrested two Abuja-based businessmen allegedly involved in swindling major federal government contractors and acts of terrorism. The suspected fraudsters and terrorism sponsors, identified as Abubakar Shehu and Ibrahim Isiaku Mahuta, were said to be in custody of security agencies. In addition, there are 12 different bank accounts where the alleged proceeds were deposited have been frozen on the order of the Federal High Court in Abuja, and a court document leading to the freezing of their accounts revealed that the first suspect, Abubakar Shehu, used his two companies, AA Gano Ventures and AA Zax Global Concept, to defraud several major contractors under various pretenses. DSS claimed in court documents that its preliminary investigation revealed that Shehu is a member of a criminal syndicate defrauding federal government contractors who bid for major federal contracts, adding that he used his two companies, AA Gano Ventures and AA Zax Global Concept, in conspiracy with some top government officials in the federal ministries, departments, and agencies. Use them to fraudulently obtain funds from unsuspecting contractors. Additionally, the secret police alleged that fraudulently obtained funds were found in 5 different bank accounts domiciled in Eco Bank, First City Monument Bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, and Sterling Bank PLC. And the DSS claimed that the alleged fraudulent activities of the suspect, his two companies, and their cohorts constituted a threat to national security. Factions of the Pan-Yoruba socio-political group Afenifere has called on President Bola Tinubu to save the country from imminent collapse. The group, which raised the concern after its regular quarterly meetings held at Isayan Ogbo, Ogun State, said that Nigeria is on the verge of total collapse due to the policies undertaken by the Tinubu-led administration since coming into power last year. In a communique jointly issued by Afenifere Deputy Leader Oladipo Olaitan and Deputy Secretary General Alade Rotimi John, the group said that the state of the nation has left the people perplexed, and adding that it was the ugly head is not affected, the country may collapse. Afenifere also said that the majority of Nigerians are troubled by the pervasive hardship, crippling hunger, unremitting insecurity in the land, runaway inflation, and massive unemployment, all of which have left the people worse off than they were at the beginning, and also frowned at what he called the reckless, obstinate, and indifferent attitude of the government to the long-term effects of the lack of forethought or purpose regarding the handling of the public revenue. The group decried some of the Tinubu administration's profligate predilections or inclination to waste resources, stating that $100 million or 240 billion naira used for the purchase of Airbus A330 as a jet for the presidency and a further $50 million to retrofit what was uncalled for. Nigeria is set to deepen its bilateral relations with Indonesia as the second Indonesia-Africa Forum kicks off in Bali from 1st to 3rd September 2024. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, is leading Nigeria's delegation to the forum, representing President Bola Tinubu. The minister's media aide, Rabiu Ibrahim, who disclosed this in a statement, said that the forum, themed Bandung Spirit for Africa's Agenda 2023, pays homage to the historic 1955 Asian-African Conference, and also known as the Bandung Conference, which was hosted by Indonesia. The statement said that the event marked a new era of solidarity and collaboration between the two continents, adding that during the forum, Idris will showcase Nigeria's vast investment opportunities across various sectors and highlight the socio-economic gains of President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, which is also expected to advocate for greater participation of Nigerian businesses in the Indonesian economy. It also said that over the years, Nigeria and Indonesia have cultivated a robust relationship, highlighted by Indonesia's decision to designate Nigeria as its primary African investment destination from 2022 to 2026, the statement disclosed. And the commitment had reflected in the growing trade between the two nations, which reached $16 billion to 2023 in 2023, up from $4 billion a decade earlier. And some business news: experts have advised federal government to tackle the incessant increase in pump prices of petroleum products in Nigeria. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network's program Society Watch, a development expert, Minawo Lawson, said that the looming hike in the current prices of petroleum products across the country is alarming and should be given priority attention.
PMS available, because these other factors are reliant on the PMS, because that controls the price of transportation. Okay, maybe.
Lawson maintained that the essence of business is to make profits and return on investments amidst regulations.
Sell, okay, so you cannot blame them. Rather, you should work on what the problems are. Nigerians are crying, reduce the cost of PMS.
This is coming after the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission issued a 1-month moratorium to traders and other market stakeholders involved in exploitative pricing to crash the prices of goods. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu says the federal government has plans to release $800 million for the construction of substations and distribution lines under the Presidential Power Initiative. A statement issued by the ministry on Sunday said that the minister disclosed this during a facility tour of TBEA Southern Power Transmission and Distribution Industry in Beijing, China, adding that the funds will be allocated for the construction. For the construction of substations for Lot 2 and substations and distributed lines for Lot 3, with $400 million designated to cover the franchise areas of Abuja. Kaduna, Jos, and Kano discos. Adelabu said that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is determined to transform the power sector, adding that several initiatives have commenced that are gradually restoring confidence in the sector and among power sector consumers, particularly industries, and recalled that in 1984, about 40 years ago, Nigeria was able to generate 2,000 megawatts, and it took over 35 years to add another additional 2,000 megawatts. The minister said that the renewable energy segment would be sourced from a combination of hydroelectric power from small dams, solar energy, and wind farms from onshore and offshore winds, adding that the national grid in its present state cannot support the vision for the power sector. Federal High Court in Abuja summoned Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the head of Legal Services Department of the Apex Bank to appear before it with specific documents on Monday, September the 2nd, the new date fixed for the continuation of the trial in the money laundering case brought against Binance Holdings Limited and its executives. At the previous court sitting, the presiding judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, adjourned the matter to October the 11th, but the deviance of the counsel had approached the court for a date change, which the court granted by bringing this trial forward a month earlier. Binance USA's head of financial crime compliance, Tigan Gambarayan, and the exchange's British Kenyan regional manager for Africa, Nadim Anjawala, are facing money laundering charges to the tune of $35 million brought against them by Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, while Gambayan and Anjawala were initially detained in the custody of the Office of the National Security Advisor. Anjawala, however, fled lawful custody on March the 22nd, 2024, while his counterpart, Gambayan, was moved from the Office of the National Security Advisor custody to the EFCC custody and afterwards to Kuje Correctional Facility, where he is currently detained. In the document titled Subpoena Ducis Tecum between the Federal Republic of Nigeria versus Binance Holdings Limited and Tigan Gambayan, the court asked the Apex Bank's heads to appear before it or delegate someone to do so. The Nigerian Aviation Handling Company PLC has rewarded a staff member of the company, Awal Dangode, who found and returned $10,000 while cleaning an aircraft in Kano State. A statement said that the Kano-born Dangode was hosted at the company's headquarters at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos for transparency, honesty, and integrity. This is coming after Dakode was assigned alongside other colleagues to clean the MS-878 passenger aircraft operated by Egypt Air when he found the money left behind by the passenger on the seats number 25H at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport. Last Wednesday, he promptly turned the money over to the airline station manager and the group managing director and the CEO of NACO, Indranil Gupta, while commending Dakode for being a true NACO ambassador who has put into use the framing he received in the company, announced a handsome cash reward, instant promotion, and appointment as NACO brand ambassador. The CEO pointed out that the majority of NACO staff exhibited these values in their everyday work in the company, and as a brand ambassador, Dakode would grace all NACO major events anywhere in the country, as well as promote the brand and have the chance to travel and interact with top officials. And to some international tidbits, Israel says its forces are strip. A statement that Israel Defense Forces said the bodies were located in an underground tunnel in the Rafah area of southern Gaza. Spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said that an initial assessment shows that they were brutally murdered by Hamas terrorists shortly before we reached them, while after the death of Goldberg Polin, an American citizen, was confirmed, and U.S. President Joe Biden said that he was devastated and outraged by the news. He also said that in a statement that the Hirsch was among the innocents brutally attacked while attending a music festival for peace in Israel on the 7th of October. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer expressed shock at the horrific and senseless killing of 6 hostages in Gaza by Hamas. United States Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has warned Americans against his counterpart from the Democrat, Kamala Harris. Trump warned that Harris would bring about poverty and chaos to the Americans if voted president, and described Harris as a threat to America's democracy. Posting on X, Trump said that the vice president is the weakest presidential candidate in U.S. history. Rescuers in the Russian Far East have found no survivors in the wreckage of an helicopter that disappeared while carrying 22 people, and most of them tourists. This is coming after the aircraft went missing on Saturday after taking off from a base near the Vachis Zets volcano in the Kamchatka Peninsula, while officials said that the Sunday that 17 bodies have been found so far. That area, a popular tourist destination, is famous for its active volcanoes, and the cause of the crash is unclear, and officials